single time I see you guys, it's unbelievable. You all were given a rubric when you walked in. I just want to point to a few things to you. I know we have some veterans in here, people that have done this probably longer than I've done this. But I want to point out a couple of changes, or just things to emphasize maybe this year. The first thing is that you'll see that this year we went from a scoring method from 1 being far below basic to 4 advanced to 1 to 5. And there are a couple reasons for that, but basically what we'd like to see is the presentations be a bit more accurate. We don't want you to be too harsh. We don't want you, obviously, to be too generous. We want it to be accurate. So we thought in adding that 4, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, adding that sort of 5th number would help in that regard. So that's one difference from last year. Instead of judging a presentation on 4, 3, 2, 1, you're judging them on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The second thing is not new, but it's something I do want to emphasize, and that's the Esslers part, which is number 3. So the kids have all been told throughout their presentations, and they'll all be in PowerPoint this year, like last year, to, at some point in time, to hit on our Esslers, our expected school-wide learning results, that they're supposed to have sort of gathered and culminated in their 12 years. So somewhere along the line, and you should see those, some will have it on one slide. Here is how I demonstrated our Esslers. Some will have them throughout. So just kind of keep an eye on that. I don't know, I haven't seen all of the presentations, so I don't know whether the majority of them are on one slide or not, but keep an eye when you're judging the Esslers to be aware that it may not all be in one slide, it may be throughout. The last thing is that number 7 is pictures. So they've been told that they need to have 10 slides, and 5 of them need to be of their physical project. So you don't necessarily have to count the pictures. We should have somebody doing that. Our wonderful junior timers back there, I'll talk about in a second. They'll be the ones telling you at the end how many slides the kids have. So they'll tell you 12 or 15, hopefully everything over 10. Also keep an eye on how many slides of the students actually doing their physical project. What we had in the past, very cleverly, is we'll have the same slide 3 times. One really big slide, a smaller one, and so forth. So keep an eye on that as well. They are clever, our wonderful kids. Keep an eye on that. The kids have worked really hard. They get a lot of practice. I want to thank the senior teachers that basically give up curriculum for a week or 2 or even more to have kids rehearse. I walked in the library 20 minutes ago and there was somebody rehearsing in front of Miss Korea. So Miss Korea, Mr. Giffen, Mr. Nail, I'm sure there are other teachers that allow students to do that. Thank you very much for allowing the kids to rehearse and feel more comfortable. Hopefully what we'll see today is a product of many, many times rehearsing in front of their peers. So I do want to thank those senior teachers that have allowed the students to feel more comfortable. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's the number 1 or number 2 biggest fear in the world, is that public speaking is not the easiest thing to do. And hopefully this will allow them to, when they get into the job market, whatever it may be, feel more comfortable. So thank you to the teachers for allowing them to do that. The kids will stumble a bit. Keep in mind that they probably don't know a lot of the people on the panel. They'll walk into a room, they'll see a couple of generous, smiling, friendly faces, but they'll also see faces they don't know. So just keep that in mind. They're going to probably scan the room as soon as they walk in and try to find somebody they know where they can get some positive body language as they're making their speech. But keep an eye that they're going to be nervous. You know, they're going to stumble. They're 17 and 18. We all stumble when we're in front of people, so keep an eye on that. We get questions every year about senior project, and we'll get them next year from that wonderful group back there. The biggest question is, why are we doing this? And we get blamed for everything. The senior project is a scapegoat for everything. You know, kid misses free throws, senior project on their mind. The drought is definitely a senior project problem. You know, late to school, car breaks down, because I was thinking about the senior project. So a lot of that stuff we have to certainly, support, and we have to stand up for what we believe in. We believe in this project, and it's refreshing to see so many of you here today that believe the same thing. And we'll continue to get those questions, even next year. I want to recognize our junior timers that are in the back. So these are kids that, 11th graders, that will all be in those seniors' shoes a year from now. And some of them are dreading it. Some are thinking, no problem, I got this. But I do want to let you know this process. These juniors here already know about the senior project next year. They already have paperwork. It's on the website. They can look at their project presentations. They can actually get their project approved before they leave for school next week. They can get their hours, or at least 5 of their hours, out of their 15 hours in the summer. So it's great that so many of them volunteered. They look fantastic. I wish you looked like this every day. They look fantastic. What it does for them is it gives them a good idea about what to expect next year. So we really encourage our junior class to do something like this, to be a part of it. So thank you guys for being here. They have other jobs today. So they have signs with the teachers' names. They have room numbers, so follow the juniors to the room if you haven't been here before, and 99% of you have. All the judges here have name tags with teacher and room numbers, so you should have all of those. And you should have a rubric and schedule of today's events. Last 2 things is something like this just doesn't happen. I mean, it takes a lot of people to plan this, to contact all of you. Thank you very much for those of you who keep coming year after year. Bless you. But it takes a lot of planning and preparation for something like this to happen. And it falls primarily on our counselor. We have a lot of different helpers. Ms. Thompson and Ms. Seaver are unbelievable for us. But Ms. Tanner is really the one who meets with the students on a regular basis. She plans this evening or this day. We talk about it from the start of school to now, and it culminates into something like you see today, something very, very well organized. So I do want to acknowledge Ms. Tanner for all of her work. So thank you, Ms. Tanner. Lastly, we are on time, which is good. You're going to follow these great juniors here in a second, but I do also want to invite all of you, after we're done, we're going to have desserts and drinks and refreshments for all of you. It's also a great way for us to get instant feedback. So if you want to come in and talk about how great things were or what things need to be improved, that helps us as well. The changes that you see that we strive for each year, they're really based on judges' comments. They're based on the student input as well. We take what you have to say seriously. We try to make those appropriate changes. So again, thank you so much for being here. All of you make this day possible. Follow those great juniors to your room, and you can start looking at portfolios before our presentation. Thank you.